Next question is from Jonathan. Will Microsoft become a credible player in the mobile OS wars? What mobile OS would Microsoft deliver, or what have they delivered in the past? You know, the answer to that question is becoming no more each day. Microsoft has had a history of decent mobile OSs dating until about 2007 when the iPhone came out and made everybody look silly. And since then, they've made some minor tweaks to Windows Mobile, but nothing major that would put it on the same level as iPhone, Android, or even Palm WebOS. So I've heard that the new Microsoft Windows Mobile 7, which is based on kind of the new Zune HD framework, kind of looking like that, is actually pretty good. But that's not going to help them much if they can't get mobile manufacturers and carriers and developers to embrace Microsoft again. And as Apple and Android really kind of kick everyone else's butts in that field, it's going to be very hard for Microsoft, even with all that money behind it, even with its past relationships, even with some weird deal it signed with LG recently, to catch up where it's fallen behind. So I would say the odds of Microsoft becoming an important player here, you can never count them out. They could easily buy RIM, they could easily buy Palm, they could do a lot of things to become a big player through acquisition. Organically, I think it's going to really take a miracle for them. So we'll see how good Windows Mobile 7 is. I get a hunch we're going to hear a lot about it next month at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. I get a feeling they're going to have to ship it by the end of the year, otherwise it's probably too late and they'll have to buy someone. And from Adam, why do many large companies continue to create lousy products rather than focus on fewer, better products? And one of the examples he gave was Sony Ericsson, which used to make great phones, and I had 3 of them, which I loved for many years. You know, has this problem where they have 50 different phones or 100 phones a year. Motorola had this very problem where they had 6 operating systems in development. And you look at the counterexample, which is Apple or Palm, where they have one phone, 2 phones, something like that. One of the reasons in the mobile industry specifically is the way that phones are distributed worldwide, and that is in a carrier system. So in the US, Motorola may make 4 versions of the same phone with very minor tweaks, sell one at Verizon, one at T-Mobile, one at Sprint, one at AT&T. I'm sure that this is a hassle for them on the back end, but this is something where they have customers who want to have something differentiated. They want to say they have the only, Q302C model. They want to have something different to be able to market to consumers. Is it the best way of doing things? I think that the answer we found out, especially as phones become more expensive and smarter, is no. And I think that's why we're going to see things like the Droid, which Motorola is using as the basis for a phone for Verizon here, but also overseas. I think we'll start to see more stuff like the iPhone, where a manufacturer will have one phone that they sell on multiple carriers. If you look at Palm, they're doing it with the Palm Pre Plus and the Pixie Plus. It's very similar at Verizon and Sprint. But the bottom line is I think we'll see simpler product lines, fewer operating systems per manufacturer, because software is really what sets phones apart these days, not the color of the case or the way the keyboard looks or something like that. It's the apps and the operating system. So I think that the companies that don't adapt to that will have problems. Nokia has had problems lately. They've been slow to adapt to that. And Apple, of course, has been very successful with that. And the last question comes from Eric W., who asks, what are your thoughts on the whole mobile social thing regarding Foursquare and Yelp and Gowalla? Do you think Facebook is going to turn on location soon? So what is this mobile social thing? Foursquare is kind of the example that everyone uses right now because they are the newest, and one of the newest and one of the most popular in this little niche. And this niche is, I have a phone that has a powerful processor and a GPS unit in it. I can use that to tell my friends where I am. I can find out where my friends are. I can send pictures and information with my location tag to it and share that with my friends. And only now, this stuff has been around for a little while. There's companies like Looped that have been selling this sort of stuff for years. But now we're starting to get into a period where there's actually practical uses for it, where Foursquare, to people who are social and who go out, actually find something useful out of this. It is helpful to know where your friends are without having to call them or message them, especially if they're really proactive about filling out this information. Recently, there's been a push from other companies that have other social aspects to them to move into this mobile area. So Yelp, for example, which has a very popular website and a popular iPhone app, has added this kind of check-in activity to the Yelp app. And a lot of people were wondering, okay, is Foursquare already dead? Is Yelp going to come kick their butts? I don't think Yelp is going to be the one that gives them much trouble. Yelp obviously is bigger than Foursquare, but Yelp, who's actually friends with people on Yelp? I mean, if you're friends with people on Yelp, it's people that you know from Yelp, and those are not the people you're going to be hanging out with in person. So I think the biggest trouble for Foursquare could be Facebook, because that's really where people are friends with the people they associate with in real life. Twitter, you kind of follow people that you know from the internet. Yelp, you hang out with people, I don't know what you do on Yelp. You talk to people who go to the same restaurants as you do that you probably don't know. But Facebook is the site where you interact with people you do know, who you would hang out with, who you'd want to run into at a bar. So if Facebook adds some sort of check-in location thing, that could be trouble for Foursquare. When I talked to Mark Zuckerberg about that over a year ago, he said, location is important to me, but we're figuring out how to put it into Facebook. There's obviously a lot of privacy issues around that, infrastructure issues, and security and things like that, and the idea that they would be screwing over some of their developer partners like Foursquare. So at some point I imagine Facebook will do something around this. I think they're more focused now on advertising and payments, but as this continues to grow, as more people use Foursquare and Gowalla and services like that, I think that Facebook will have to do something eventually. And that's it. Next week we'll have another one of these, and look out for a post on Silicon Alley Insider where you can ask your questions and have them answered on camera. Thanks for watching.